Ciao. Hello, my students. Thanks for joining me once again to review information on the most important and useful tool to kayaking. I made this chart right here. I don't know if you can see it. It says Sports Nutrition, Professor Brenda Broderick, also known as Lady Sunshine. And this is my kayak and Mr. Sun. Please remember, this is not a gondola, okay? So, now this says the most important and useful tool to kayaking. Also for walking, dieting, and any other activity involving energy expenditure. I'm Brenda Broderick, a doctoral student at A.T. Still University in Arizona. And my my grade and times are important to me just as it is to you. So we share common needs and understandings. As mentioned in my last session, this course is on the importance of gastric emptying in exercise and endurance training. So at the end of this session, you will find PowerPoints and lecture notes and what we discussed today. So let's get started kayaking, okay? First off, how many of you have ever kayaked? I'm sure we all have wanted to or have at some point. This sport, it's not so simple, although it appears simple with this vest you wear and an oar that you have to go using to navigate down the river. And you probably thought that sunblock was the only item you would need to participate and enjoy the day cruising down the lazy river, full of wildlife on the shore and challenges that you'll encounter as you kayak. If you remember in our previous discussion, gastrointestinal problems occur during endurance and can impair your exercise routine and muscle recovery. Now that is found in research by Gatorade, just in case you're wondering. And I can remember setting out to cruise down the lazy river over in Weeki Wachee here in Buccaneer Bay. And this is in Weeki Wachee, Florida. And I was setting out to cruise down the lazy river and launch my vessel, my kayak. And in this case, I started paddling about 45 minutes into my trip. My stomach started gurgling like a coffee percolator. Now, I'm sure many of you have had this occur. And the problem behind the gurgling was I needed to understand my nutrition daily and what was needed for this specific task or training. The further I paddled, the tireder I became. And right up to the point of virtually exhaustion, I reached a point where I was just virtually exhausted from paddling down the lazy river. Okay. And lucky for me, there was a manatee, this big manatee, and he was noticing me and my little depleted energy. And as I mentioned in the last session, the cause of GI symptoms could be psychological, mechanical, which is like running and exercising, or nutritional, which is your diet. And the psychological part has something to do with your reduced blood flow. And again, this is researched coming from Gatorade. And I knew skipping breakfast was not a good idea, but I was kind of in a rush to get out because they have limited rentals on their kayaks. And I brought one of those protein power bars because I eat a lot of those, like MetRx, and to compensate when I miss a meal. So what I did, of course, the obvious, I grabbed my protein bar and ate some of the bar and then drank a little bit of water, thinking I'm going to be out of the weeds here. Only Only that manatee knew what was going on, what was going on, and he knew better than I did. And truly, I forgot my fellow students and friends that one must always avoid protein, fat, fibers, and milk products during exercise to reduce the risk of that GI discomfort. And that, of course, is researched by Gatorade. This is some information I'm providing. So within 5 minutes of eating my sports protein bar, I felt like I was pretty much out all night long drinking with my NASCAR buddies. I told you I was not a good thing. When I was younger, I used to vroom, vroom, vroom at the NASCAR races. So not sure if what I was experiencing was unusual or hypovolemia, which is the degrees of blood in my body, or hypoxia, which is your oxygen deficiency. I remembered in lecture discussing this topic. We touched base on that a little bit last session. And not trying to switch up the dialogue, I need to do the same. I need to do a small random test, and I'll choose like every other odd number person to answer some questions. And you could just give me 5 words or less. It's a very simple. It's not going to count as part of your grade. It's just part of participation. And I would ask you, what is hypothermia? What is hypoglycemia? And what is ischemia mean? What is the definition of those? So the one who gets this correct will get a chance to have a free 4-hour kayak from Wikiwachi. And I'll give you the ticket and you can go kayaking for 2 down the lazy river with manatees if they're out. Okay, so now rapid gastric emptying and absorption is what I needed at this point for energy and to stabilize my blood oxygen level. And this big, humorous manatee popped his head out of the river and looked right at me. I was like, oh my God. As if to ask, did I need some seaweed or kale? My mind wasn't on this beautiful creature. He is so gorgeous. I mean, you really need to go there and experience what it's like to just kayak down this river and see these beautiful manatees. And I wanted so much to jump in the water, but you're not allowed to, and hang out with this big manatee. But back to this gastric emptying issue, realizing nutrition and training along with proper fluid intake combined with exercise will improve gastric emptying. And I waited with my lovely friend, the manatee, within the hour. And I revitalized and I was paddling away. Some of the time frames for gastric emptying can occur anywhere from about 120 minutes, 60 minutes, 120 minutes, 240 minutes. This is research by digestivedistress.com. And I will tell you more about this fantastic kayak trip in our next session. But first, I need all of my students to take just 3 minutes. I just need you to take 3 minutes out of your time out, please, and write down what you've learned from this lesson and what you can utilize later on in life. Okay, and so I just wanted to review with you quickly. Gastric emptying is GI problems will occur during exercise and endurance. GI symptoms can be psychological, mechanical, and nutritional. Avoid during exercise protein, fat, fiber, and milk products. What is hypovolemia? This is a decrease of blood. And what is hypoxia? This is oxygen deficiency. So what is needed for exercise and endurance? Rapid gastric emptying. And why? To stabilize blood oxygen levels. So these are going to be test questions. I will be giving you a test at the end of this. And I'm going to give you all you have to do is just study it. Should be pretty simple. And these are going to be 20 points each. I wanted to thank you for joining us for this session, and be safe with this virus out there. Wear your gloves, keep your distance, and stay healthy. And go out fishing, go out exercising, get in that sunshine, and enjoy your day. Even though we have some tragic events occurring, we still need to realize that life has some beautiful amenities. Thank you. Take care. We'll see you next session.